Struggling with coming up with ideas, or your ideas are kind of bland? Well, don't worry, because this video is for you. I'm going to go ahead and let you know how to spark your creativity in 3 easy ways. This is also my entry to Dana's favorite bird art challenge, and let's see if you can guess what my favorite bird is. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the tips. Tip number 1, change up your surface. Now, the surface that you're using has a lot of impact on how you're going to go ahead and approach your artwork, your illustration, whatever it is you're working on. Whether you're working on canvases, this is usually what I mainly use for my paintings. I use canvas panel, wooden surfaces, cardstock for my Copic markers, but I also love using watercolor paper for my Copic markers. The paper quality also affects how the medium is applied, how it interacts. That is something you want to take into consideration. Is maybe the surface that you're working on is not really giving you an inspiration, you're not liking how the supplies are looking on it. You might want to change it up and experiment a little bit. That's a great way to spark your creativity, because you never know how something's going to react, or maybe you'll get a different effect to what you typically used to. I'm sure you've heard the phrase change up the scenery. The same thing applies to your surface. You want to maybe try something different. Which leads us up to tip number 2, try a different medium. The same concept applies to tip number 2 as in tip number 1, where you change up your surface. You're trying something new or something you haven't used in a while. As for me, I've been using a lot of acrylics. I've also recently tried, again, some water-soluble oils, but it's been quite a long time since I've actually used watercolors for an entire full piece. Watercolors are really easy to use. You don't need a lot of the paint to go a long way. So if you have watercolors and you haven't used them in a while, I definitely recommend you give watercolors a try. They're great for if you want to just do some quick studies or do maybe some color palette experimentation, or if you've actually been like me where you use acrylics and other mediums that have a different approach in applying. Watercolors is a little bit less stressful, and if you mess up, you can easily fix it. So changing up your supplies, trying something you haven't used in a while, also can lead to a spark in creativity. It's the same as when you go to a new amusement park or you go to an event you've never been to. You know, the excitement is just so overwhelming that you really enjoy it. It's a new experience. So it's the same thing with art supplies. If you basically use just pencil or ink, you maybe want to try add some color to your pieces. It will motivate you to expand that piece, go a different route, maybe add a background. Maybe you use oils, but you've never used acrylics. Acrylics have a faster drying time. So of course, they require you to approach that piece in a slightly different way, same as the surfaces. Every supply has its own approach, and it has a great outcome for using that supply. So I highly recommend you go into your art supplies, find something you haven't used in a long while, and go ahead and dive back into that supply and re-spark your love for that medium that you purchased. I mean, there's a reason why you bought it, right? So now we're going to go ahead and go to tip number 3, dive into the surreal. Now, this tip is one of my favorites. I recently found my passion for surreal art when I took advanced painting class in the university, and ever since then, I try to use it in almost every piece. This piece was a favorite bird art challenge. You were supposed to do something with your favorite bird in it. So I thought, how can I take my favorite bird, add a few other elements to it, and really make the piece pop, really resonate with the people, give a overall meaning to it as to why I love these birds, what they mean to me, and also tie it in with the topic of this video, which is creativity. So I added a lantern. A lantern is used to light up the darkness, and I also wanted the birds coming out of this lantern, basically coming into existence from this creativity, from this a light that was turned on, that sparked into people's imagination. And that is what really helped tie this piece together. Is I did do the woman, which is representing me, the artist, the person, you and me, and I also have the bird, which is my favorite bird. But also in the way that I approached it, the way that I added all these elements, kind of gives it like a whimsical, surreal element to it. It gives it additional story, additional meaning to a piece, besides just having that beautiful bird right there. If you find yourself struggling on what to do with a particular prompt, or what to draw, give surreal art a chance. Try to think, how can I add certain elements to what I'm creating to make the person react a certain way. And what's really, really cool about surreal art is that everyone doesn't react to it the same way. Some people resonated with it in a different way than others. So some people might just see this piece and just love the beauty of it. You know, the beauty of nature, the freedom that this piece gives off with, you know, flow of her hair, the colors, they're so light, added on there in a certain way, like all that texture. Other people might see the bird crying up on top of the right side of the piece, and it might be maybe she is screaming to be released, to be free, or all these birds are taking flight. So it could be a rebirth of this person's creativity, imagination, artistic endeavor. A piece can have so many different meanings to many people, and it might be what's lacking in your piece. It's not resonating with you. It's not speaking to you. That's a great way to spark creativity. Find a new reason why you're doing this piece. You can't go wrong with surreal art. Just add an extra little element to it, gives it a whole entire new meaning, and I think you should try it if you haven't given it a go before. I'm going to go ahead and tell you why I love the American Robin as I reveal to you how the final piece turned out. Let me just say I was surprised, but also very happy with the final results. I used to migrate to Michigan a lot as a kid, and we used to work. We were migrants, and I always found solace in nature. And I remember seeing this beautiful bird as we were out in the fields working, and it just gave me this sense of freedom that there was something more besides just long days of work under the sun. And I hope that this piece also kind of expresses that feeling, that emotion that I felt when I saw this bird. I love the sound of the wind, listening to it as I was, taking breaks between long days of work, and just looking at nature, looking at these birds singing and just flying around. That is what I really, really wanted to do with this piece. So I hope you all liked it. I want to thank Dana for this amazing challenge. I don't think I would ever done this piece if it wasn't for her challenge, and I really love that I did it. I can't believe I went from a simple rough sketch to something so beautiful that resonates so deeply with me, and I hope it resonates with you as well. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below what is your favorite bird, and if you took part in Dana's challenge. I hope you found these 3 tips very useful and sparking your creativity. I hope it gives you new meaning, new ways to look at your art. And if you like this kind of content, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up and bell notification down below so you don't miss out future videos just like this one. And if you're looking for something else to watch, why not check out this video here that is about productivity. I gave you some tips on how to be more productive